today's watch and whole video will be in slightly different format. Auguste Reymond is not that familiar brand to me, so I decided to combine it together with new style. And this watch is slightly different from current mainstream, and that is the main beauty of this timepiece. Watchmaker decided to combine together the old heritage with some modern design cues, and now we have a chance to take a closer look. Start, I would suggest to talk about history of this brand, and there are a lot of interesting things actually. Auguste Reymond was founded in 1898 when young entrepreneur opened his own manufacturer business, and factory opened a bit later in 1903. There are plenty of interesting moments in later history of this brand, so I recommend to check their website for the most notable moments. And it's worth noting that this brand somehow managed to surprise watch fans even during quartz crisis, and that's definitely a big achievement. It's also important to mention that this company changed its owner in 2019 and then moved to the new factory in Nidal. Nevertheless, the new chapter started in 2021 when Auguste Reymond introduced their new line of the watches. What you will see today and what I have in this nice wooden box is the part of the Heritage 1891 series, which clearly hints on the founding year of this brand. There are several color and strap combinations available, but in our case we have a blue dialed watch with a metal bracelet and very long serial number, so it will be ARHE04A001 201001. So let's start with the blue dial first. Straight from beginning here I have to mention that this is not a big watch, it's only 42mm, so it's reasonably sized timepiece, and the dial still avoids the clutter look, as you can see. Blue color comes in gradient with the dark edges and the lighter center finish. And what I am pleased to see is there are only a few writings, including the famous AR logo here on the top. As for the handset, we have a classic combination of three parts on the dial, but their shape is something different. Hour and minutes hands are cut in oval-like shapes, and manufacturer prefers to call them leaf-like shapes. And we have also generous superluminova inserts on both parts, it means on hour and minutes hand. At the same time we get a really thin seconds hand, as you can see now it's in perfect position with this AR logo on one end, and it somehow reminds of the rapier, and its thin shape is actually elegant and it doesn't disrupt the overall styling of this dial. Another thing which you can notice here is that there are no digits on the dial, so all the hour marks are indicated with the applied indices, and in my opinion this is really great thing because it helps to keep the whole styling in a clean way. There are no obstructions whatsoever. At the same time, if you take a more careful look, there will be an outer scale here which is in a smaller font, but we have here some digits for the seconds, and we have the 60 in the red color. Such minor addition might be handy for a stopwatch function, and of course it adds a nice touch of color here on this blue dial. Another thing which you can notice is the white date window. It is placed at traditional 3-hour position, but we have the no magnifying insert on the top, and I think this watch actually benefits from this because it helps to keep the whole styling in a clean way, so there are no extra parts on the dial and over the dial on the glass. Of course, whole dial is covered with sapphire glass, so you shouldn't be worried about any accidental scratches, and as you can see it sits flush with the case with the edge slightly angled to the case. Today's watch comes with a stainless steel case. We already mentioned the size, but it's worth to mention the thickness, which is 13 millimeters, and this is not a massive part. As you can see, it's thin and sleek, and it's easy to wear under your sleeve. And if you add here 167 grams, you can understand that you get a really solid piece which feels nice on your wrist. In this design you won't find any moving parts or bezels. As you can see, it's a classic styling. Crown is relatively huge and it's unscrewed crown, so you basically just pop it out, and there are two positions in order to set up the date and set out time. It's worth noting that whole case features a combination of several finishes. We have a brushed metal here as well as the polished edges, and all these things actually create an elegant look and feel right in place. At the same time, of course, you will have to be careful in order not to scratch these polished edges, which look nice, but I think it will be really easy to get scuffs on them. If I take out this watch, there is a clear insert on the case back, so you can appreciate the movement inside. And of course the water protection here is 100 meters, which is more than enough for such watch. I think it should survive water splashes and maybe showering with this watch. This stainless steel case actually looks good with the strap. As you can see here, we have a metal bracelet with the polished inserts in the middle, and in my opinion it looks sleek, it looks fine altogether, and I think I will not get this watch with any other option. But of course you can disagree, because it can look good maybe with a blue leather version here, and there are no quick release parts on the opposite side, so you will have to use the classic tools. And of course if I flip it over, you can find AR logo here on both ends of this strap. It's also worth noting, if you would like to change the strap or the bracelet, the lock speed is 18 millimeters. As for the movement, this watch is based on AR200 movement or caliber, and as you can guess, 200 hints on the Sellita SW200, which is quite famous movement among many or various watches. And here you can expect 42 hours power reserve. Of course, as you remember, we have the date indication function, we have also clear case back insert, and there is also AR logo on the rotor. And now I think it's the time to move to the overall experience with this watch. So for this section I actually put this watch on my wrist, and because this is a review piece, as you can see, I did not shorten the bracelet. It is actually kept on the, I would say, the standard length. Nevertheless, it feels nice, and somehow I did not feel discomfort with the widened strap, even though it might feel weird and look weird, but somehow it still works nicely. As I say, this case is not that big, and actually the thickness helps you to hide it under the sleeve. It doesn't catch the sleeves, even with the long shorts, and overall design is actually sleek and nice. I also appreciate this dial because it's uncluttered. As I said, due to its size, it looks pretty nice. It's easy to read, it's legible even in the dark conditions. You will see some shots with this. And of course, the second hand, it's something to admire because it looks different from all the typical elements we are used to see on the watches coming out from the famous brands. Case design, as I said, it is quite calm. I would say it's somewhat classic design, as you can see, and of course it helps you to focus your attention on the dial, but at the same time I did not like this part. So the crown is big, it's easy to operate, but it sits flush with the case and it's really difficult to take it out. There are no recesses, there is no edge on the crown part, and that's why you have to somehow pick it out, maybe with the nails, maybe with the sharp tools, which is not recommended approach obviously. But again, with the 42 hours power reserve, it's up to you to decide how often you will be actually dealing with this part. And as for the power reserve, I think it is fine. For this price tag you can get something more long lasting, but it's up to you whether you can live with 42 hours. In my opinion, it's reasonable amount for everyday use. And as I mentioned the price, now we can talk about the price for this watch. As you understood, this watch made a nice impression on me. I would be frank, I did not know about this brand before, even though it was founded a long time ago. And the price tag here, because I mentioned it before, it's $1,400 US. In my opinion, it's quite reasonable price if you consider that you are getting a Swiss-made watch together with a Swiss caliber inside, with the really nice and I would say unusual dial here with this beautiful thin seconds hand. And for some of you it might look boring, but in my opinion it's ageless design, which might be actually the great benefit for this watch. And if you are tired from all these mainstream choices available on the market, that's something to check out, because it will be a different thing from other choices. And in my opinion, this is the main advantage of this watch. If you would like to have really different timepiece for a reasonable price, this might be a good thing to pick up for your collection. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this watch. Do not forget to write it in the comment section below. And if you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.
Me wind and rain, you're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my